Okay, on to evidence now. Let's have a look at the social media article and what you should be looking for in terms of evidence, all right? So here we're looking for any other kind of sentences that are in the article in each of these chunks. So again, stick to these chunks that were already provided to you, and let's go through each chunk bit by bit. And if it's a very general sentence that kind of matches with what we have over here, it's not evidence. But if it's anything more than that, it'll go over here. All right. So this one doesn't have like super specific evidence in it, but there are a few places. Okay. So remember that our statement here, copy. I think I have it down here, don't I? Yeah, but let me put it at the top also. All right. So social media, bad for mental health. We already have that. Amid debate, experts have found that social media use appears linked to negative mental health impacts among young people. We already have that. Researchers have noted a rise in depression among young people since about 2012. So there's a little specific thing. With the use of social media among teens and the amount of time spent online increasing in close proximity. So that to me looks like it could be counted as evidence. What should we do with this? We could underline it, all right? And then earlier this year, the Reboot Foundation. So when we're looking for evidence, we're looking for specifics, like the name of her company and specific numbers, all right? And we found a disturbing impact on mental health. All right, so there's another piece of evidence. Now for evidence, you can just bring this over word for word to the document. That's fine. So we can copy. And over here, I like to do little bullet lists. But anytime you copy paste, please put quotation marks around it. You could also get in the habit of putting citations with the paragraph number, like that. The other one we have is this bit here. Copy. So again, not super specific, but when she says that teens' use of technology has grown, surge in mental health, here's one example that she gives, this study. And here's another example that she gives, her study. I think that's paragraph 2 as well. All right. So you want to try to, anything that you find that's specific evidence is going to go in this middle column, all right? Now over here, you're going to say what kind of evidence it is. So we have research studies. One of the other ones I talk about is, well, we can just call this research studies. I think in the other slideshow I talk about scientific evidence. They're similar enough that you could really say either one of them here. So you could say researchers have noticed research studies. Down here. And again, this is her research organization. All right. So because these are talking about like studies that have been done on social media, right? Okay, so that one's, there wasn't a whole lot in there. I think the next, need to start treating these platforms. Warning labels and age restrictions. This all seems fairly general to me, so I wouldn't really count any of this as evidence. The only thing that might count as evidence might be these as examples, but it's general enough that you could probably skip over this because it's basically just repeating her main idea. Okay, let's go to the next one. So let's find our sentence, our general sentence here. Copy. Just to kind of remind us what we're trying to look for here. Undo. There we go. So users refuse to stop even though they understand its negative effects. All right. So we do have, this is specific here. All right, because it names the president. It has kind of an opinion that he gives. So I would copy this over here. I'll put quotation marks. We can do the bullet point. What paragraph is that? 4? All right. Now what's going on here is she says that social media is bad for our mental health. She's saying it's worse than what Biden says about the misinformation. So what she's actually doing here is she's making a comparison. I don't know, do I have that up here? I did not include that in this list, but I think I included it in the slideshow. So it's called an analogy, which means that she's comparing what she thinks is bad, social media and mental health, with what people are familiar with at that time, which was what was going on with COVID-19 and the misinformation, right? So analogy is her evidence there. So again, not a major detail there. So, she's just repeating that general idea here. Okay, sound over the top. Here's where we get into more specifics. More than half of people we surveyed acknowledge that their social media use intensified their feelings of anxiety, depression, or loneliness. They also told us that it contributed to their low self-esteem and made it harder for them to concentrate. Control C. All right. So see how that's giving not a very specific number, but we're getting into some evidence here. All right, so the two things that I see here, and this is para 5, I believe. Double check that. Doop. Yes. Okay. So a few things that are going on here. All right, so more than half of the people we surveyed, so that to me sounds like statistics, because they're numbers that come from a research study. But the other thing we see here is the people kind of giving, like, self-reporting their experiences, which if we go up here, remember we have expert testimony, which is kind of an expert opinion, but testimonials are anecdotal evidence. I think we have anecdote on here also. Testimonials and anecdote tend to overlap a little bit, so either one of these would work. It's these people telling kind of what their experiences were. So testimonial or anecdote. Okay? Because these are the people that were in the survey and they're talking about their experiences. But then this bit is the statistics. If it helps for me to color code that, do that. Some of the students in my class is color coded just for their own purposes. I don't know, what do we want here? Green. Okay, I think that's it in that section. Oh no, only about a third said they had taken steps. So copy. Only about a third. So that looks like that's going to be those kind of statistics. Again, not super specific, but, and then here's the testimonial. Okay. And again, that's paragraph 5. I think. Yes. Now here, I find it incredible that even though users know the harm, they're unwilling or unable to limit their use. This is just repeating her major detail, right? Because that's what she says here. People can't stop even though they know it's bad for them. So that's her major detail, just stated in her words, but we've already done that over here in our words. All right. So it's really a very systematic, deliberate process here where we pretty much stop on every sentence and say, is this just repeating her major detail? I think I said main idea over there. I'm sorry. Major detail. Is this just repeating her major detail, or is she going to the next level of giving examples or giving statistics or giving, what else? Quotes or anything like that, all right? So that would be the process I would go through to identify evidence and state what type it is over here. All right. I think I'll go ahead and stop there, and then I'll do one more on counter-argument for people that were having trouble with that. All right, see you on the other side.